Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm happy to be joined with Betty Steele of astrologywithbetty.com. I'm Christa Clark of artisticvegan.com, and today we're talking about empaths and how to be an empowered empath and how to cope and what is an empath. So we'll start with what is an empath, and I thought, Betty, maybe you could enlighten us on what an empath is.
Oh, well, sure. I would love to talk about my experience, and it's always great to be with you, Christa.
You too, Betty.
Well, I can tell you my experience. So I know that personally, being an empath, nobody tells you.
Right.
When you're little. You know, mostly people tell you you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or you're sensitive or you're overreacting. Because what I found is, I guess we should identify an empath is simply somebody who picks up other people's emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on how you develop this gift, it can give you, it's a very powerful psychic gift. If you can handle it, because it's a gift, but I think that it can also feel like a curse.
Depending how it goes.
Well, yeah, especially if you are unenlightened or you're still damaged, because the thing is that most empaths have very difficult lives. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of emotional issues that they need to heal, but I believe it's because they're healers. Mm-hmm. And, you know, doctor, heal thyself.
Right.
Because you can really only meet somebody as far as you've met yourself.
Absolutely.
So I think for empaths, the trap is before they realize who they are, how powerful they are, and what their gift is, that it can be lonely and isolating and scary. And a lot of empaths struggle with depression. Mm-hmm. And then they can drift towards alcoholism and drugs, but that's the lower end. So I think that it's important to discuss this, to give this information out to people so they know. Like I remember I would tell people, oh, this person's, and they'll be like, you're crazy. That didn't happen.
Right.
I think one is they don't see it or feel it themselves. And two, which is a big one, I think a lot of people like to live in fairy tale land.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so they don't want to hear the truth.
Right.
And I understand that 100%.
And it can hurt your ego and your sense of self and yeah, all of that.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's important, maybe we'll talk about that later, a little bit about the empaths, to keep their circle clean. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're also mirrors for people too. Mm-hmm. So like sometimes people will have like a strong reaction. And I really believe, because an empath, and I'm not just talking to me personally, some of, are really kind mm-hmm. and really want to help. And then you'll get met in the outside world with somebody who like hates you and says terrible things about you. And I really have come to understand and learn that we're mirrors. And mm-hmm. we chose this, we chose to do this job in this lifetime to help other people heal, to mirror, because what we see in someone else
mm-hmm. is reflected back, and
is what we possess in our own self. And I think that that's how we heal. And I know in my lifetime, I've had, the opportunity to, I projected too. We all do. We're all human. Mm-hmm. But for me, when I found out, I didn't know until I was 25 years old that I was an empath.
Wow. Yeah.
I thought I was, woo.
Just thought you were feeling a broad range of emotions, or
I thought I was emotionally unstable.
Right.
Is what I really kind of just diagnosed myself with. I never went to a doctor. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I was like,
it's different, right?
Right. Everybody had I didn't really think much about it. I just kind of dealt with it, and I just kind of felt like one minute, because I would be happy, and then all of a sudden I would feel angry or I would feel sad.
Right.
And I would notice, I didn't put it together, but like being in large groups is very challenging because you get bombarded.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember one time my mom took me to an IKEA and I thought, can you take me home now? It's just too much. Too much stimulus.
It is. It's overwhelming. And I know, like when you and I had your reading and we discussed, I said that you are an empath, sweetheart. I don't know if you were really if you ever really realized the full capacity of your power and this gift that you have.
Yeah, for me, it was the same. Like, I didn't know or never identified with it. And it wasn't until, one of Gerald's fans, Renee, she's a big supporter, and she reached out and she said, I think I asked her if she thought maybe I was one, and she thought, oh yeah, of course. And I thought, oh, well, that kind of, it makes sense. I didn't realize, because we'd go out to the market and I'd come home and like, Gerald makes fun of me. He's like, oh, is this mile marker 60 or 50? Because I tell like every little detail because you're so affected by everything.
Yeah. And you could get exhausted, right? You come home and you just need to lay down.
Yeah, I go and I limit myself. I think boundaries are healthy to how much exposure you get, if you can. I mean, I've had times in my life where I've had the low end of it, not knowing what was going on, and, could have gone on the alcoholism path if I didn't turn things around or whatever.
Absolutely. And I went down a couple of dark roads when I was younger.
Sure, me too.
But the alcohol, I mean, not like I was, in Betty Ford.
Yeah. But like a martini with Sex in the City at that low vibration or whatever.
It takes
great.
The edge off,
Yeah.
What you're really doing is poisoning yourself. So that's why being enlightened and going down the spiritual path is super important, because you're also, when you're drinking, you're killing your life force.
Right.
So you're shutting it down.
Right. And you're opening that window or door for who knows what.
Darker entities to come in, absolutely. And especially being an empath, you're very open to these things.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and you can get attachments. And I think that's also why a lot of empaths struggle with depression.
Sure.
When you do drink or do drugs, and there's no judgment. I mean,
no, we've all been, well, maybe not all of us, but some of us have been there.
Those people who do these things are in pain.
Right.
Trying to shut it down. And I think then you open yourself up for dark entities.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can whisper, in your ear and really screw with you.
Right. So how can astrology maybe be an empowering tool for an empath?
Well, astrology is wonderful for it because, first of all, I can always identify one.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the people who come in and say, oh, I'm an empath, I look at their chart and I'm like, okay, I don't. Usually when you tell them they're like, what? I am? What? I thought I was just, disturbed.
And sensitive and sad. Yeah.
So astrology is wonderful because, first of all, we can identify it. And I love to tell people and explain it to them. And they're like, because I just wanted to tell you how I found out about me.
Right.
Because I remember when, it was such an empowering moment. And when I think of it, I still feel like elated. I was 25. I was living with some very close girlfriends of mine at the time. And there was 4 of us in the house. So, one with 4 girls in the house, somebody's always got something going on.
Sure. Oh my God. Yeah.
But at that moment in my life, I was very happy. I had a new boyfriend. I was just getting ready. I was going to go out into the city on a date, and it was I was happy. I was, nothing in that moment was wrong. I was actually very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't turn out so well, that relationship, but in that moment, okay, I was super, super happy. And I was sitting, this is when we first got a computer and AOL just came out.
Oh my God, yeah, I remember.
So I was sitting there kind of wasting time, waiting for the time to pass to go out on my date. And I was in my room, and right next to my room was the bathroom. Now, a very close friend of mine who I lived with was having major anxiety. She was freaking out. She was going through some turbulence with her boyfriend at the time. And she was very stressed out, very anxious. I didn't know this at the time, that this was her problem or her issue, whatever. I love her. And so she came into the bathroom, and I was in the other room, but we were very close to each other, proximity. And all of a sudden I started to feel sick, nervous, anxiety, scared, sweating. And I was like, oh no, oh my God. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Stop, and then
Right.
But then I had this weird epiphany, and I stood up and I went and she was just doing her hair and stuff. She wasn't, and I knocked on the door and I said, are you freaking out? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, thank God. And she's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I realized in that moment, I'm picking up you.
Right. Yeah.
And so then it took a long time to realize, to be able to decipher, because, it's fluid. It's like water. So if I pour my water into a container with your water,
right,
it merges.
Right.
So, and that's why I wanted to talk about this too, just quickly. Hematite. This is a hematite stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I wear a ring always now that I know. This is like an energetic condom.
I love that. That's funny.
It doesn't stop. You can't stop it. I mean, unless you're going to just like pound the martinis, you know, then, but then you got to deal with that. So, but this, what it does is it allows me, especially when I'm doing clients, I have to get in. That's how I work.
Right.
But I a lot of times often feel exhausted, depleted, and feel a lot of like the residue.
Sure.
This just keeps it separate, so I can get in, but then I can come out unscathed and just clean.
Right.
So it's like rubber gloves when you have to clean.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So I recommend if anybody's an empath or thinks they're an empath or whatever, just get some hematite. It's not expensive.
Hematite.
Like this ring was $12, I think.
Right. Yeah. A lot of that stuff isn't very much. Yeah. And it's.
No, it's not. The ones that are, you know, because a lot of there's tons of it being mined all over the earth. I think the ones that are expensive are the rare ones that like the tanzanite and stuff.
Right.
But that's another talk, right?
Yeah. Oh, very good. Yeah. Well, structural integration is kind of what did you say?
Oh, no, go ahead. I love structural integration.
Oh, I was going to say that it's kind of the same way where you're like going into their energy body because you're putting your hands on somebody and then you're doing this work, and it's almost like chakra police, as Gerald might call it, or like because you're awakening those different chakras and those different energies, and so you can be susceptible to getting some of that on you or feeling drained after the work. But if you can keep a higher vibration or do some kind of protectional means like that, and allow that person to ascend, then it's kind of funny, as they get changes and they grow, then you do too. You kind of get what you give, and it's a really neat thing. And as far as that goes, you know, the structure work, it completely starts from the bottom up and aligns your energy. And so if you can have a higher energy state, then you can hopefully be less affected by the darker or the lower energy vibrations. And that's one way that you can do it without having to change your diet or other means of your lifestyle too dramatically. You can have it done to you or learn how to do it and do it to yourself, friends, or whatever.
Well, I'm grateful for you and Gerald introducing this to me. And I agree with you. Energy workers, anybody, even massage, chiropractors, I think
any kind of hands-on.
Hematite is wonderful, but like I agree with what you said. Raising your vibration, more light is more protection. So these stones, and there's different tips and tricks that help. But I think it is if you're untouchable. You can't, if you're. But it is also a lot of pressure because it's not like we can do that all sometimes.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't lie to yourself. If you're not feeling it, then
then you know
yeah, you're not in alignment, right? Okay,
but you need some hematite. I'm going to send you for Christmas.
Oh, you're sweet. We have this little like stone and gem hippie shop that's it's in the next town over, but it has some cool stuff and
that's fun.
Different crystals and fun things and necklaces and all kinds of cool stuff like crystals.
It's dangerous when I go into those stores.
I know, it's like a candy shop. I know it's for adults, for spiritual adults.
I'm like, I'm just gonna go in and get one stone. I'm like, all right, $300 later. What did I do?
Oh my gosh, I'm not that bad.
Costco, when you go to Costco, you always end up spending so much money.
Oh, I know, 10 items, it's like 100 or it adds up quick. Yeah.
But I want to go back to what you asked about astrology because it is very important.
Yes, yeah.
You can first of all identify it. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think it's very easy to identify. There's a couple of things that scream out, that this is what they are. And then also too, we can find out where are their strengths. Uh-huh. Why did they come here and why did they choose to be an empath? How are they trying to use this energy? And how can we help them? I think the most important thing for anybody, but especially empaths, is forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And how you can alleviate, because it can feel like a leaf in the wind, like getting blown and back and forth, and especially if you're in an unhealthy relationship or in some unhealthy dynamics, you're constantly picking this energy up, and they're sponges. We're sponges. And
Right.
it's so I think it's very important for the empath to learn to love themselves.
Absolutely.
And yeah, because the thing is, you feel an overwhelming need to help. So it's kind of like, well, I can't take home every bird with a wounded wing, every dog, stray dog, because before you know it, you can have poop all over your house, you know, and
yeah, 10 stray cats. Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's easy to do because you want to help, and sometimes, and also we got to go put a pin in the empath and the narcissist relationship, because that's a dynamic that really exists.
Common. Right. And I'm sure many have been there. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very common.
Yeah.
And also what I think too, it's very comfortable for the empath in a weird way to be with a narcissist, because they don't have a lot of intense emotions. They're very kind of self-centered. So I think it's comfortable. You know, as opposed to being with, and two empaths together are great, but then you're always picking up each other's everything, unless it's too highly evolved, you know?
Right.
So, well, just with the astrology, I think it's fantastic, because why are you here? How can we heal you? What do you need to work on? What do you need to let go? We can identify where does it hurt, so we can decide, okay, what do we need to start releasing?
Right.
And just, it serves to empower you. Why are you here? And what do you need to do? And why did you choose this? Because I think it also helps, because a lot of empaths have very difficult lives, and it could give them a perspective of why. A lot of people always ask me why. When you get your energy people, when you do the work, they always want to know why is this so hard? Why did this happen?
Right.
I think it kind of gives an answer. Well, because you chose it, because you wanted to be of service.
Right. And it's part of the evolutionary process of that, and part of forgetting and remembering and learning and growing and identifying and all of that.
Yeah. I think it's a beautiful gift, but I think that empaths need to learn how to be, now, not selfish, self-sufficient in the fact that, you know, not everybody wants to be saved. And sometimes people,
and that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally okay. That's everybody's journey. It's none of my business, you know, and
or mine. Yeah.
What an empath, how you can identify is when you are with somebody, do you feel exhausted? And not just once or twice, but like there's because it's like energetic vampires. Now you're getting drained, and they're feeding it and not using it for a higher growth. Just, you know, it's kind of like siphoning gas out of people's cars because you don't want to go pay the big pump tax, you know?
Right. Or do they lift you up and light your fire, and you've never been so lit up before? You know, these are things to identify.
Yeah, well, I think too is that, you know, you can't save everybody, but what you can do is you can stand up, but you don't have to get involved and drag yourself down.
Right.
And that's, I think, a mistake that a lot of us make, and I have done it.
Me too.
You know, and it's not, there's no judgment. It's not an easy thing to get a hold of. You know, having psychic powers, people think it's fun. I don't think it's that fun.
Right.
You know? Sometimes, like, it is very rewarding if you help somebody, but I think as on a personal note,
it almost requires like more self-care.
Constant.
Right. Yeah, I'm constant too.
And that's why I love, now I wanted to bring this back and have you, because what you offer with the vegan lifestyle and the yoga, that I think is a must for a healthy empath.
Right. Yeah. Like before I was, overweight and had a hard time and low energy and kind of embarrassed and uncomfortable. And then when I went plant-based, it just got so much easier, and it naturally, you just feel better. And so it's just easier to keep going. And even if you have, if you're not plant-based, so that's way out there, you can just try one meal a week or once in a while, and then, hey, you ate healthy and you got all those vegetables that day, and rock on. So you can just do even little things and maybe see how it makes you feel. And if you can maybe challenge yourself to a longer period, great. For each person though, it's different. And in general, just following a healthy lifestyle or healthy diet, whatever that means for you, it's going to make you feel better. And it raises your endorphins. Like when I gave us our smoothie this morning, I'm like, oh, this is good for my brain. This is good for my thyroid. This is good for my, vision. And I drink that knowing all those things. And it's almost like you get like a reward system. I'll tell Gerald, like, oh, we're eating so healthy. It makes you happy that you're treating yourself good. And it's like
self-respect.
It is. And it is a sign of self-respect, and you're preventing future illness and future lower vibrational diseases or dis-ease in your body. And you're just going to glow. Everything's going to be easier. I don't know. The list just goes on and on and on. And for me, it just not having to yo-yo diet and all that kind of stuff that went with it. That was awesome to not have to do that anymore, and pretty much maintain. I still do the yoga and everything else to find balance.
I think it's so funny that you were ever, because you have like such a perfect physique.
Oh, thank you.
I can imagine you. I mean, I saw you, and you weren't fat by any means.
But I was I had another 60 pounds on me, and it was.
You have such a beautiful, but you look healthy too. Not like you look very healthy. But I think with the food, it's everything is energy.
Right.
So, and not to judge, but I think if you're eating cows that were killed and they are died.
Absolutely.
Fear,
yeah.
Like you're eating that energy.
Right. So any of those.
Person. Yeah. And especially if you're a sensitive person,
yeah,
you're gonna, you're processing karma.
Right. So, and you take on that lower vibrational, and at the end of the game, if we're all one and we all come from the same thing, like, ooh, that's not. I think that's part of the evolutionary process, is to overcome that and find compassion for all life. And Gerald said he wants to record me. I even capture like flies and release them. but I wasn't like that. I wasn't like that at first, but eventually it just starts spreading and spreading and spreading. But it just kind of becomes a natural way of life.
Well, you start growing and then your consciousness, but you are very gifted with that. And so it's wonderful that you've been exposed to all of this and now you can teach it. Now the structural integration, I'm sure, and I want to let you know I'm starting mine.
Oh, congratulations. I was going to ask you. That's awesome. Good for you.
I'm going to start mine. I'm starting.
Oh, go ahead.
Starting Wednesday, Halloween. How exciting is that?
Oh my God.
How fun is that?
Oh, well, it'll be spooky.
There's this woman that I read. She was one of my clients. She came to class and I did a reading, and he does it.
Oh, and perfect.
She's in my town.
Oh my God. Well, synchronicity.
And I really like her. Like we got along really well. So I was like,
that's so important.
I'm so excited. So maybe when I'm done with my series, we can talk about it.
Yeah. And I mean, you'll get so on fire about it. Whenever I do it again or start doing it again, it's like all you can talk about or think about. And then you get back to your normal life and you go, oh yeah, that was one of the most amazing things ever. Ida calls it the freight train to evolution. It really, and she would even talk about, how before you were Ford and now you've been turned into a Jaguar. And Gerald said, talk about the school. So we started Gravity Body Academy, and we started that this year. Actually, we've been really busy this year. And we recorded.
I saw some of your videos. They're amazing.
Oh my gosh. So we started the school, and it wasn't even planned. I mean, it was planned in the fact that he had always wanted to do a school in a brick and mortar type of fashion, but it just didn't pan out universally. The timing, different things, it just closed door, didn't happen. And then when we weren't,
you're both very busy too.
Yeah.
You're both very busy.
Yeah. And then many years later, when we weren't seeking or trying, then we just just kind of, my mom had mentioned that online schools were really big, and I had mentioned a couple times, and then Gerald kind of was like, let's do it. And so we just did it. And anyways, it has the anatomy program, and so even if you're doing yoga training and you just want the anatomy, then you can do the anatomy. And it's really cool because he uses 3D CGI. So he takes the bones and muscles off and twists it all around instead of just holding a skeleton, which is fine. But it's just a nice new innovative method to look at things. And then also there's the entire Ida Rolf 10 series recipe, basically, on how to do this work, on how to align a human and the energy, into the gravity field, which seems like it should be common knowledge for everyone. But anyhow, it starts, and and he goes through the entire 10 series and records the whole theme with him there, the entire 2 hours session. And then I have my additional session with me doing it to him. And I do it a little more recipe style with like kind of sped up increments and stuff, since it's kind of, we already just watched his. But anyway, but together you'll get 2 different viewpoints, and it's really awesome and fantastic. And it's a gift.
I love the 2 of you together, because he's so scientific and you're so like
artistic or just different. Yeah.
No, but it's beautiful, and I watched that. What you're I know what you're talking about the anatomy. When you sent the video from you guys,
right?
And I wish I could say I comprehended all of it. That I was, you know.
He says to think about it like a hobby, you know, a little bit here and there.
I got so much from it, and I got so much from how he broke it down, and to think of the body in layers, like how he said that. Like, I got a lot of gems from it, and I'm sure I'd love to go back and rewatch it over and over again, because it's something that is multifaceted. And you know, for the both of you are wonderful healers, and you know, him and his background and your background, it's definitely worth it. So I'm 100% recommend it. I think it's amazing. I wish that I was closer to you guys. I would love to have you guys structural engineer me.
I know. We get that a lot.
I bet it would be great. Maybe one day you'll have like a retreat center.
I know. Actually, I'm like into all these spa treatments for myself and for him. I'm thinking one day maybe I'll have a spa that we could have, or like, you know, an on-site.
Wonderful. That's a dream of mine too.
Yeah, because it's just so nice. And maybe you didn't have to manage the stressful aspects of it.
Hire somebody. Get some Virgos to take care of it.
Yeah, that love process or something. Yeah, but anyways, and then the yoga, you know, I mean, it's just always there for you. You can roll out your mat anytime, anywhere. If you have a mat, if you don't have a mat, you can connect with your breath. You can re-engage, and you know, it's a yoking, a union of your body, mind, soul, and spirit. And so when everything's all working as one, it's just going to be easier. And then also you're meeting yourself on the mat and breathing into those dark areas. So you're finding maybe the shadow work places that need attention and work, and you're breathing new light and making new space in that area for new great things. So it's good to have I think it's great to have a personal practice. And, you know, and maybe if you're not into yoga, for a lot of people they're not, then a walk and connecting and looking and saying, wow, it's a beautiful day today, and appreciating or being grateful or affirmations or whatever floats your boat.
No, but I think that the trick is so simple. It's simple in theory, but I guess in practice, first of all, like I know, and I was the same way. Everybody wants to open up the chakras, open up the third eye, right? You know, but if you're not grounded
or ready,
you're really going with yourself. Right. And so I think that's another thing for empaths that is so important, is grounding. And I think we should talk a little bit about that, because I remember people would say, oh, you need to ground. And I'd be like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? You know, and so I simply think it is just really like looking around at the trees and the grass and and knowing I am the same energy that animates this, animates me. I'm one with it. So when I do my yoga, I consciously every day root in, I squeeze the lower 3 chakras, and I picture a beam of light going into the core. I mean, because at the core of the earth, now I don't know, I haven't been there, but this is a theory that I believe, that there's a big, gigantic crystal of the earth. So I believe that crystals are programmed with information, like, you know, remember Superman, when he went to the castle, the snow thing, and all those crystals. So I think it's downloaded with information. Right.
Yeah. Isn't there like some people that say like an entire universe can live in there? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't know about that.
I don't know either.
I watched some stuff on it, and I'm like, I'm open to anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't really. I mean, there's so much. You can't be, you know, an expert on everything. There's so much.
Oh, I know. My God. Yeah.
It's so much to know. But what I do is, and then I consciously dump with gratitude my heavy emotions, like
absolutely. I almost every day kind of, you know, release that which I need to forgive, release that which doesn't serve me. And because I'm kind of in the past of somebody that would hold on to that, and it really never helped me. And so now I may have a conscious practice to release it, to be grateful, to, and to forgive myself, forgive everyone else. If there's anything I'm holding on to that I don't know about, that I need to let go of, I try to bring that to my consciousness and move through it. And the more that I think you can start your day on a positive note and have that carry through your day, I think the better. If you can.
Absolutely. Well, some days are easier than others. And I think it's important to remember that.
Yeah.
But just forcing yourself, because it's just being able to choose one thought over the other. It's a luxury, I think, to be depressed, because you sit around and you just, but you can consciously change it.
Absolutely.
Even though you don't feel it. Like when you wake up in the morning, gratitude and forgiveness, that's the key to, once we open our hearts, then there is no more pain.
Right.
Really, because we're living in love.
Right.
And so I think just waking up every day and consciously trying to make the first thought, thank you. There's always something to be grateful for, especially our health. Like think about, but waking up and just being like, wow, I don't have to go to the doctor. I'm not, or I don't have aches or pains, or I'm capable of, doing something with myself. Or even just, you can't look outside of nature and not have gratitude. It's beautiful.
I know.
There's even if you're just, grateful for your martini,
whatever it is. Yeah.
I think the universe gives you more of what what we feel, we attract.
Absolutely.
And that's why. And I think
because if you're thinking, I want more, like you're not happy with what you have, then why would you get more? Yeah.
Well, it's funny because it's kind of like my daughter, and when she's so I'm like, why would I do anything for you? You don't appreciate anything, and so I guess it really is that simple, Mother Earth. It's like, why would I give you more? You don't even appreciate what you have.
Yeah. This fruit is falling and rotting, damn it. Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah.
I think laughter is a huge part of it, and forgiveness and gratitude. But for me, when you just said about the releasing and forgiving, because you have a lot of water in your chart, and so do I.
Yeah.
And water absorb. That's the fluidity. That's the intuition, and that's a lot of. It's beautiful, but also holds on. And I have Scorpio. So forgiveness. I remember when the idea of forgiveness was first introduced to me when I was younger, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, good luck. Like,
yeah. I hate that guy or whatever.
You don't know you don't know me.
You don't know how he broke my heart or whatever.
Son of a bitch. But the thing is that you're not hurting them, you're hurting yourself.
Right. And you don't even know. Yeah.
The thing is, and I think it's funny because if I can do it, I really do believe anybody can do it. Because,
me too. Right.
And I don't ask anybody to do anything that I haven't done or I'm not willing to do. Like you have, and I think that's, you have to be authentic when you do energy work.
Absolutely.
People can tell.
Yeah. Well, and if you're going to lie to your own self and your own energy, then you're not going to really get anywhere. Yeah. I
know. But forgiveness, I felt, and yoga, the Kundalini yoga is what actually brought me to a tremendous release one time. And I wasn't even intentionally trying. I mean, I had said I'm willing to forgive, whatever, but in the moment I wasn't consciously thinking of it. And it brought all of this stuff up from childhood. And I kind of went into this like meditative, it's hard to explain, but I had not only forgiveness, I had compassion and gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, this is it. That's what this is. So when you
the new Holy Trinity. No. Yeah. But they are really good things, right?
But when you can have gratitude for the person who hurt you,
Right. And see maybe how they helped you grow, or what you learned from it, or what you were supposed to get out of it.
Well, I do believe that we choose this, so you've got to find the lesson in everything, And when I say that, I don't mean that you need to stay in dysfunctional, relationships, but I do believe that we choose a lot of our relationships, partners, friends, and to come down and do work together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to be mad at somebody because I asked you to come over and clean my house and then yell at you about it,
Right. And having, what did I hear? It was like having compassion with yourself for like those past maybe things that you look back and go, what was I thinking? But having compassion, knowing, I did the best in that moment with the understanding and evolutionary part, of where I was at in that moment in time. I made the best decision from where I was at, maybe in my energy level or whatever. Yeah. And then having compassion for maybe the past you that did that and letting it go.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, because sometimes we know better, but we're in fear.
Right.
And I think that's where we get stuck, where you get, for me, I get angry at myself because I think you knew, what were you doing? Right. And then I really am like, well, I was just scared. I was scared.
Yeah, or you didn't listen to that inner voice or whatever it was. I'd have some of those. Yeah.
It's hard. Like, I look around at some people who don't have empathy, and I'm like, I used to, now I'm very happy and comfortable with it, but I used to be very envious and be like, I wish that I could just sit around and think about my curtains and, like go where I'm going to go shopping next, my next vacation. And I still like those things. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's not very comfortable to walk in a room and know what everybody thinks about you.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like mind reading, but it's like an energetic thing. You pick something up and then you start to get a story, which is kind of fun, like if you're people watching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, people watching around here is really a trip.
You have to go to restaurants and kind of be like, oh, what's their deal?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, we're like sitting there and there's like somebody walking down with a cart with like cushions and punching bags and everything you can imagine on it. It's like, okay. And then the next guy's got like a pump.
Oh my God, that sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's intense. Yeah.
Is Gerald, do you think Gerald is an empath?
He could be, we're both, it's kind of funny because we've been blessed, like if he's down, I'll be up, or if he's up, or like if I'm down, then he's kind of up. And so one of us can usually kind of help the other see the silver lining in the cloud. And we've been blessed that way. When we're both down, it's really bad, and I don't like that time.
No, it's hard, but it happens. But I think that's beautiful. And I think that that's a healthy relationship, because I think the trap for a lot of empaths, and I've done it, they get into unhealthy dynamic relationships. And especially, like I said, to bring it back to the empath usually has a lot of wounds that they need to heal.
Absolutely.
So if they get into relationship before they've learned to really love and respect and honor themselves.
Yeah.
And there's also that too, if I want to fix, I want to help, I can fix, like if you would just do this, or if you could just see it this way, if you could just, because they see what's wrong. Right. And I think they get, but the thing is, you could get stuck into severe depression.
Right.
By staying with somebody. And it's not like, I don't believe that they're doing it intentionally, but I think staying with somebody who just refuses to take responsibility for themselves it's toxic. And I think it could really, steal years from your life. But
sure,
it is sad to have to, it is sad, but I think that empaths need to be very careful before they enter into a relationship, really, because getting out is tough for them.
Right.
And to really make sure, because the first 3 months, everybody's nice.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And looks perfect or whatever. Yeah. I always look like this for breakfast.
I always wake up with great breath and wonderful hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never farted.
No, I don't have gas.
Like people make it put on. I think it's like, I read this thing, I don't know if it's true, but I read like people can only keep it up for like 90 days before.
That's funny. Before it starts showing, seeping through.
Before the cracks start showing, it's like putting on a new coat of paint, and then you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. No, just watch my first cooking shows, and then no, I'm just kidding. It is true. Sometimes I look at my first stuff and think, wow, I'm so creative. I really try.
Oh, you're always wonderful. It's hard to keep that creativity up.
I know. Yeah. But it's kind of fun. It kind of pushes the ball down the court.
It is. It must be very gratifying when you do complete something and you're like, wow, that like, I really pulled it through here.
I know. I just finished editing my last meal plan, and it was like the 6-week thing, and that's like, it's a big commitment to yourself and to your community, and say I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna do this, and so I made it. I just have to do a PDF and then I'm completely done. But once I'm done with that, man, I'm like dreaming about the beach, or like I need some time off.
Yeah, you do. You certainly deserve it. But I appreciate it, and I'm sure that all of your fans do, because you know, you make it practically, make it helpful, because like we said, it's so important to any kind of lifestyle. But I know you have really changed my life a lot, in the sense that I'd be like, well, I'd like to, but I don't know what to do, you know. And sometimes like I said, like sometimes I'll cheat and use pre-made veggie burgers.
Oh, that's beautiful. I did that for years. Yeah.
But you give me so many ideas and inspirations, and a lot of times I'll follow your recipe, or sometimes like I'll just use what I have in the house, but I'll remember, like I'll take a piece, and it probably is, you know, I'm missing some stuff, but at least I'm eating healthy.
Right. Yeah. That's how I look at it. I know. I'm like, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vegetables, and we got, you know, good to go. Yeah. So.
And it's challenging. Do you have, you know what I think you would love? An air fryer. Do you have an air fryer?
No, but I kind of want one. Yeah.
You need one. We'll talk
about
it.
I kind of want one. I know I need a new food processor. I need like some new things. There's always stuff in like for the kitchen. Oh my God.
I do. Sometimes I just put chickpeas.
Oh yeah.
In the air fryer.
Have them, like, and then crunchy little treats.
Yes, instead of sitting in front of the TV eating, you know, garbage.
Chips, or I know. Yeah, I know. I'm a sucker. I like chips.
Everybody loves to shove their face in front of the TV. I mean, it's guilty, but we gotta enjoy ourselves somehow. You know.
I know. Before I make Gerald watch one of my meal plans, I'm like, well, here's something to eat. You can't just watch it.
But that's wonderful too.
It's really hard to edit those things. Oh my God, I'm like always snacking.
You do a great job. I love your videos. I think you do a great job.
Thank you. I love yours too. I'm so proud of you. I saw your new full moon. So what could maybe empaths do in this new full moon with the new energies that are coming on? Is there anything we could take advantage of, or we might be feeling, or maybe, you know, going through something?
Yes. And I just did one on the full moon that is on my website. I didn't put it on my website. It's on my YouTube and my Facebook. I always get lazy to put it on my website.
I loved it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's important to let people know what's going on, because it's not like it's going to take it away, but at least you understand.
Right.
And full moons, like we said, we have full moons every month. So are they important? Yeah. But this one was a real wow. This one was a supercharged one. The planet Uranus and the moon. And now I don't know if you heard about all the terrible earthquakes they had in Greece.
Oh no.
This was recent. Yeah, I just saw it. But I mean, it's horrible. And said it was coming. Oh. And I'm not. A lot of it's because Taurus is the Earth. Is the Earth. You know, there's 3 Earth signs, but Taurus is really, you know,
the mega.
The Earth. It's you know, what do they call that? Pachamama? You know.
Oh yeah, Pachi. Yeah. We have a there's even a restaurant down here that is.
Oh really?
Yeah, Machima.
Pachamama, but that's, you know, the goddess, the mother, the Earth, and so Taurus is the Earth, and Uranus is shock. Oh, it's electricity. So that's earthquakes, the Earth. And I would say we're going to be expecting more, because it went into Taurus. Now it's going back out and back into Aries, and then it'll be back, I believe, I should really check, but I think around April, May.
Oh, yeah, I saw, the only thing we saw was that Florida, that poor, terrible hurricane there.
That's terrible too.
That was awful.
A lot of that's the Uranus is unpredictable, and Taurus is the Earth. Oh. Now, want to throw that opposing Scorpio. You know, like, this is deep, dark, underneath what's hidden. So the sun, and we have Venus and the sun were very tight, opposing the moon and Uranus. I mean, they were right on top of each other. You know, this was like, sometimes astrologers get a little loosey-goosey with their degrees, but this was like 1 degree separation. They're on top of each other.
Wow.
Also squaring the nodes of fate, which I explain. I don't want to get, but so this was just a lot of tense. And this full moon that happened on Wednesday, I believe, at 12:46.
It's so funny because that's the day I watched your video. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. That's why I wanted to put it out a couple days early so people could see it.
Yeah, I didn't even plan on it. It just happened.
Oh, well, see, well, you did.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, you knew.
Yeah, it was cool. It was great timing. Yeah.
But this one is, we're going to feel the reverberations for the rest of the month. So how you can use this energy is allow it to shock the emotions of your physical body, to bring them up. It's not comfortable, but it's like purging. So this is shining the light. Where does it hurt? Where are you stuck? Where, and also with all this fixed energy, there's a grand cross. Where am I being stubborn? Where am I holding on? Where am I refusing to see? So the full moon, especially the Taurus Scorpio axis, is so healing if we can really purge. I'm sorry, my dog is barking.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's really, you can purge. So it's an opportunity to purge. Stay grounded. Remember, connect to Mother Earth. And just like when I've been doing my yoga the last like week or two, I've been crying. But I mean, it's a healthy cry. It's not like I'm like, oh God, poor me. Like I'll be in the middle of it, and then I'm like,
just let it go. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been really embracing it, and afterward, I don't feel tired or drained. I feel clean. You know, like I'm getting it out.
Right.
And
yeah.
so that's how this energy is fantastic. It's not exactly comfortable.
Sure.
You know, but
it's better than it being there and ignoring it.
Because that's when we sabotage ourselves.
Right.
If you're going to stuff it, you know, and hey, I've been there 100 times myself, you know, like when you're just shoving food in my face.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I have my daughter, I don't really get to dabble in the, you know, the narcotics area. But I have to be, you know, I have to be fluid. And so I mean, and that's, I guess, a really good thing. She keeps me very grounded.
Yeah.
But I'll shove my face.
Yeah.
And it's so unhealthy. And you know, and
I've done that. Yeah.
I've been really embracing it and just doing that and releasing it. So I recommend doing that. And because once you do open your heart by releasing all of the pain, forgiving all of the players, and having gratitude, when the real magic comes.
Absolutely. And you're open for it.
Yeah. And you can really, because it's very uncomfortable when you're bitter, and it's not. It's very uncomfortable for the person. That's why I tell people, it's like, it's selfish. I want you to forgive, not because I want you to be altruistic, because it's comfortable for you. You know, it's, you know, and when you have a chip on your shoulder, it's like everybody's my enemy.
Right. Yeah.
And there's offense in everything.
Right, and everyone's energy. I gotta protect myself from everyone. You don't have to be that way.
Yes, because if you just have an open heart, you know, and you enjoy life, you're happy, and not that you're not going to run across people who maybe aren't on the same vibration, but you just send them love. Right, yeah. I like that. There's some quote. It's you know, a candle can't go into a dark room and not share that light, whereas the opposite can't be true. And so, you know, dark can't go into the light and dim it all. So just be that light. And another good one was, you know, to be like the ocean, where maybe you are water, but you're so big, they're diluted. That's kind of a fun way to think about it. I love it.